Hi everyone, welcome to our PT Plus online lessons. Today's topic will be Write Essay. In particular, we're going to be focusing on scoring criteria breakdown part 2. So, in the last video, we talked about content and form, and we talked about how important content and form are. Remember, if we get 0 for content, that means we get nothing else. If we get 0 for form, that means the other traits such as vocabulary, spelling, and grammar, we don't get scored for, which means we get no vocabulary, spelling, grammar, written discourse scores. And these make up a huge part of it because in total, write essay questions are worth 15 marks. That's a lot, right? And then forms and content only account for 5 of it. So we need to make sure we do get marks for those sections in order to get scored here. So in part 2, we'll be looking at the remaining 5 criteria, and we're going to have a look at how to do well and what are the requirements for each of those. So the remaining 5 criteria are development, structure, and coherence, where we look at having a logical good flow. We have grammar, which looks at having complex grammar. We look at general linguistic range, which looks at the precision, emphasis, and having no ambiguity in your choice of vocabulary and language. Finally, we have vocabulary range, which means we need to use a broad range of vocabulary. Idioms such as and colloquialisms can help boost our score in this section. And finally, we want to have correct spelling. So, in terms of development, structure, and coherence, or other known as DSC, we need to get good development and logical structure in order to get 2 marks. If we have poorly linked paragraphs and we have some less well structured or some elements or paragraphs not linked well, then we get 1. And then we get 0 if we lack coherence and mainly consists of lists or loose elements within our essay. So here's an example. Let's look at this one. A key part to DSC is to think of logical and relevant /related content. Here we've got the question, large shopping malls are replacing small shops. Do you think this is a good change or a bad change? So quite a typical question for you. What we need to do here is we need to present logical and related content. We need to think about establishing the links as well as using a conjunction relationship. A template can help us achieve all of those things. So we've got 4-5 different points here: better shopping experience, more products to choose from, equipped with cafe, restaurants, car park, air conditioning, and more time to relax. We can link it together with good coherence by using conjunctions such as because, and therefore. So it should sound a bit more like this. A better shopping experience is possible because more products to choose from and it's equipped with a cafe, restaurant, car park, air conditioning, therefore there's more time to relax. So when you think of these ideas during planning, it's easier for us to sort of follow a flow because our ideas are linked and have a relationship. These conjunctions then can help guide us through by connecting the points. Okay. So a high-scoring template would already have a precise logic flow to help you maximize your score. So if we use a template, we don't need to think about how to connect our points. We don't need to think about our flow. It's pretty much all solved for us already. In terms of grammar, there are a total of 2 marks allocated for grammar. You get 2 if you show consistent grammatical control of complex language. Errors are rare and difficult to spot. So pretty much make no mistakes and you get 2. If you make some mistakes, but small mistakes that would not lead to misunderstandings, you get 1. But if you have many simple structure or several basic mistakes, then you get 0 for grammar. In terms of grammar, what is complex language? There are pretty much 2 types of sentences. We've got compound sentences and complex sentences. You should at least know how to use compound sentences correctly. So compound sentences are sentences that are linked with words like but, and while. So here's an example. The government offers students a number of options for paying their fees, but students still become confused about the implications of their choices. So if we were just have this as one sentence and this as another sentence, it's an example of non-complex language. But by connecting it up with the conjunction but, that's an example of complex language by using compound sentences to make it longer. Okay, so now let's have a look at some examples of complex sentences, and these are able to be done through practice as well. It can be really stressful to come up with these when you're in the test, and especially because you're under stress. So we can maximize our grammar without having to stretch ourselves so far in the test by using a template. So let's have a look at some examples. Here, parents should be punished for their children's misbehavior. That's an example of a simple sentence because it's a sentence on its own. Parents should be punished for the children's behavior if their children's behavior is destructive. So here we've got the adverbial if their children's behavior is destructive. So that's an example of a complex sentence. Parents should be punished for the misbehavior of their children who are still minors. So here we've got the who are still minors. This is the attributive clause. Parents should be punished for what their children have done. So have done, that's the object clause. So obviously this is all really complex, and like I said, all of that can be solved essentially by using a template. A well-established high-scoring template should cover the majority of complex and compound sentence requirements that you'll need. It'll have some default established complex and compound sentences ready in there to help you establish a high score. So don't worry about it at all if you're using a template. Next, let's have a look at general linguistic range. So you have a total of 2 marks allocated for your general linguistic range. You get 2 if you exhibit smooth mastery of a wide range of language. So here we've got the key, a wide range of language to formulate your thoughts precisely, give emphasis, differentiate and eliminate ambiguity. No signs that the test taker is restricted in what they want to communicate. So you get 1 if you have a sufficient range of language to provide clear descriptions or express your viewpoints. And you get 0 if you lack precision. So obviously we can see here a key area that's popping out at us is accuracy and precision. So precision, precision, precision. So what is accuracy and precision? Let's have a look at these 2 examples. Increased disposable income made single mothers buy better healthcare. Increased disposable income allowed single mothers to buy healthcare. So because we're more precise with the language, made is very general. We can make anything, right? This was made, that was made, but allowed is more specific, and it's here allowed makes more sense. So that's an example of more precise language. And remember, a high-scoring template would incorporate a range of language that would help you express your viewpoints to an extent. But it's also important for you to develop your own academic writing skills and apply it to the ideas that you're choosing to add in. Here's another example. You're beautiful. You're more beautiful than anyone else in the world. You're the most beautiful girl I've ever seen in my life. Here, these 2 are examples of being more precise and being more accurate in language. When you're just writing you're beautiful, that can be very vague and it's not very precise. Now let's have a look at the vocabulary requirements. As you can see here, there are a total of 2 marks allocated for vocabulary. You get the full 2 marks if you have a good command of broad lexical repertoire, idiomatic expressions, and colloquialisms. You get 1 if you just show a good range of vocabulary for matters connected to general blah blah blah, and lexical shortcomings lead to circumlocution and imprecision. So here we've got 2 words, circumlocution and imprecision, and I'll be breaking down what these words mean further. Circumlocution is talking around a word. So if you don't know a word, you'll talk around it and you won't get to the point straight away. And imprecision relates a bit to what we were saying earlier, so not pairing the right vocabulary with it. So let's have a look at the requirements. So 1, we need a broad lexical repertoire. That means having a broad range of vocabulary, not being limited to just 1 or 2 words, using lots of different words. So here the word is important. So some words we can use instead of important include things like significant, crucial, and vital. These are an example showing that we have lots of vocabulary. Once again, we've got the simple word problem, and we've got words like challenge, issue, difficulty, or question. These are more complex examples we can use. We've got the simple word of dangerous. Instead of dangerous, we can use risky and hazardous. So by doing this, we can get a higher score. The second example is idiomatic expressions. So idioms help us sound more natural in our language use, right? So have a look at these examples. You can pause the video now to have a look and pick which ones you think are the most natural and precise. Yep, welcome back. It's exactly right. It's exert an impact on and exert an effect on. The others just don't sound so natural, and the others are just things that native speakers would not likely to be using. For example, exert impact on. Native speakers just do not pair words like that together. They don't pair things like exert an effect to. So only these 2 are sort of natural and precise. The third example would be colloquialisms. So PTE Academic welcomes both formal and non-formal versions of expression. So for example, block, it's a very simple word, right? An academic way to say block would be hinder, to hinder someone, to obstruct someone. So these are very academic ways of saying it, or you can go colloquial, to get in the way of something. So There are many ways to express the word block, and the PTE welcomes both academic and colloquial. And sometimes it's easier for us to use colloquial language, especially if you're familiar with speaking English in a day-to-day context. So all these three things can sort of be covered by using a template. A high-scoring template would already include a variety of these different vocabulary to help maximize your vocabulary score. Ensure that you also build up your own vocabulary base too, because it'll be helpful for your writing and for other sections of the test too. So these are examples of circumlocution and imposition. You can say lead to disaster, but if you can't remember the word disasters, you might say things like lead to terrible things that are harmful to people, which is a really roundabout way of saying disaster. The last requirement we have is a spelling. You get 2 for correct spelling, 1 if you just have one spelling error, and 0 if you have more than one spelling error. So this is quite tricky, because as long as you don't make any spelling mistakes, you get full marks, but as soon as you start making one, you get 1 mark. If you make more than one, then you get 0. So it's really harsh, and we can't make any spelling mistakes at all. The PTE Academic allows only one spelling system in a single piece of answer. That is, we must adhere to either the American or British system in one question, but not both. So in a question, you can do the American spelling or you can do the British spelling. If you're looking at which sort of spelling you typically use, have a look at the words like color. Do you spell it like this or do you spell it like this? For the word center, do you spell it like this or like this? Program, like this or this? But perhaps the easiest way is ask yourself, do you usually use S or do you usually use Z? And if you use S, then you're a British user. If you use Z, you're an American user. And you can always go to this website for a comprehensive list of the differences. And for spelling, if you sort of stick to the words you already know, and if you stick to a template, once again, that will greatly reduce the chances of you making a spelling mistake. So here is our strategy. For content, there are a total of 3 marks. We want to stay relevant. We want to use an academic approach and we want to use logical arguments. For form, we want it to be between 200 to 300 words. We ideally suggest for around 250 to 280. We want to use correct punctuation, spacing, and capitals, and we must get all 2 marks for this. For development, structure, and coherence, there are a total of 2 marks. We need to manage our structure with a template, pay attention to logical flow between the points, and by using a template, we can guarantee the score here. For grammar, we want to have consistent grammatical control of complex language where errors are rare and difficult to spot. So once again, a template will help you achieve 2 marks here. For general linguistic range, we want different ways of saying things. We want to be precise, we want to differentiate and eliminate ambiguity. So once again, a template can help us achieve this. Vocabulary range, we want to have a broad lexical repertoire using lots of different words, idiomatic expressions, natural language, and colloquialisms, so day-to-day conversational language. Once again, a template will help us. And for spelling, we just want no errors. So if you check your spelling after you write your essay, there should be nothing wrong. Don't write words you're not sure about because we don't want to lose marks for spelling. So here for content, we want at least 1. For form, we want all 2 marks because the template can help us get this. For development, structure, coherence, we want at least 1. For grammar, we want at least 1. For general linguistic range, we want at least 1. For vocabulary, we want at least 1. For spelling, we want 2. So we want at least 9 out of 15. Obviously, we want more if possible, but 9 out of 15 is the least that we're aiming for. Finally, keep this in mind. Build up your own lexical repertoire. So constantly use the dictionary to look up words you don't know and try to add more words to your own vocabulary. Synonyms are important for writing. Synonyms are words that mean the same thing as another word. So for example, important, crucial, critical. Building these words up is going to be very helpful for your writing. Avoid using words that you're uncertain of in terms of meaning or spelling in the exam. Stick to one spelling system and always leave enough time for checking. So we'll be talking more about time allocation and how to do checking in another video. So that's it for this lesson. See you again next time on PTE Plus.